Isn't it interesting that the day before we have a major calendar date in the March silver contract on COMEX, COMEX mysteriously has data outages? You know, data outages haven't been an issue on COMEX for at least the last 5 years. But for some reason, when silver reaches new all time highs, suddenly COMEX, the CME, appears to be having data issues. But, I'm sure that it's just a coincidence. So, anyway, yesterday we had data outages on the COMEX. Silver was held below $90. And the 27th, so February 27th, is a significant contract date for the March silver contract. I think it's when holders of that contract have to specify whether they are going to stand for delivery, i.e., give me the fizz, give me the physical metal, or I'm going to roll over. I'm going to, or I am willing to roll my contract over into the next delivery date, which would be, what is that, March, April, May or June? Anyway, roll my contract forward. And so the 27th is that significant date. Yesterday, coincidentally, we get data outages on the COMEX. Contract standing for delivery. So these are people holding the March 2026 silver contract. There were 90 million ounces that could potentially stand for delivery. So, 90 million ounces, I want my physical, I got my little red wagon in tow, I plan to take it home with me. And then, coincidentally, we have data outages on the 26th. Now on the 27th, as I understand it, the contracts standing for delivery are only 20 million. So somehow between the 26th and the 27th, when data outages occurred, 70 million ounces of silver futures contracts decided that they'd roll into the next contract. So anyway, just all interesting stuff. Oh, and notice that on the 26th, silver closed below $90. And so anybody holding contracts based on a $90 strike price, they didn't get what they were expecting, or they got what they should have been expecting, in my opinion. But if they were betting on $90, silver being above $90 on the 26th, 27th, they lost. And isn't it interesting? They lost on a day when the COMEX had data outages. But anyway, and then continuing with that theme, notice that on the 27th, so we're done. We're done with whatever machinations we had to do on the 26th, when coincidentally data outages occurred. And now on the 27th, here's silver pushing higher again. So, which in my opinion, silver is in the process of retaking its real price. It's it's headed towards the price where it should have been for the last decade or more, and that price is significantly higher. So, but folks, that's Brian babbling. It's early in the morning. Probably haven't had enough coffee yet. So, anyway, let's keep rolling. We've looked at those charts long enough. These are the mining stocks, and so I realized yesterday that I wasn't showing the pitchforks in this panel. This is the chart that I look at most frequently, and I share with you in videos. But I had not been drawing forks in these charts for the most part. So anyway, yesterday I went through and added the current forks, pitchforks, Andrew's pitchforks. That's my preferred technical analysis method. And so you can see in the panel now that, well, everybody but Altamira is really in a kind of a sideways consolidation, and it's a junior stock. Hell, it's at 17 cents. Clearly a speculation, not an investment. And just kind of in a sideways pattern right now. So I didn't draw a fork in there. There's not really a fork that's relevant. So Hecla, main point of the video today is that I did some more buying, bought some more mining stocks this morning. What did I buy? I bought, well, same three. I bought Wheaton, I bought Hecla, and I bought some USAS. And I sold a little bit of GROY and rolled that money into Wheaton. It's just, partly that's just me managing my portfolio. I had an outsized position in GROY, and so I rolled some of that money into Wheaton this morning, and bought some more Wheaton on top of that. So Hecla, I like this. We got mostly it's a sideways consolidation. It's actually got a little bit of an upward sloping bias, which of course is that's a bullish indication. It's kind of a sideways consolidation, but the price action in Hecla is bullish enough that even a sideways consolidation is headed higher. And so anyway, that's nice action in Hecla. And then also we're in the daily time frame. This is a Schiff pitchfork. And so what we can see is that price is finding support, or appears to be finding support, along the lower median line of that Schiff pitchfork. And so anyway, Hecla sitting at support, poking at the top of this price range. And so my expectation is that Hecla is going to break out of that price range, and then in its next move we'll be pushing up to, we'll probably be looking at back to, where'd my ellipse go? There it is, somewhere in there probably. So we're looking at, 30, 31, probably 31 on our next push higher in Hecla. Shoot, can't beat that with a stick. So anyway, I like Hecla. I bought some this morning. Wheaton, Wheaton is just, it's terribly strong. I mean, I don't know how many different ways I can tell you that Wheaton is a terribly strong stock. It's a terribly strong stock. Anyway, bought some more Wheaton this morning. Notice that in yesterday's action and then follow through this morning, Wheaton has broken through two significant milestones. 160. So Wheaton has popped above and popped. Notice that we gapped, not just a push up through 160, a push yesterday. We actually Wheaton closed above 160 yesterday, but now we follow through with a gap. And so, not only is this a breakout, it's a gap up on a breakout. MACD buy signal, MACD in bull mode. Accumulation distribution is just horribly bullish. I share this with you folks. One of the things I have done in my own portfolio of mining stocks, both in my purchases on Tuesday and then this morning, I've got basically got four core positions at this point. Wheaton's at the top, and that's the biggest rearrangement I've done in my portfolio, is to move Wheaton to, that's my largest position. And to some extent it's in deference to where I'm at in my life. I don't want to spend all day looking at 2,000 mining stocks jumping up and down. I want to just kind of park my money into the best stocks or do the best job I can to identify the best stocks and then put my money there. In my opinion, Wheaton is one of those stocks, and so I'm kind of shifting my portfolio towards basically I got four stocks: Wheaton, Hecla, G-Roy, and USAS. And I'll share. I'm at 10 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up. I'll do a video and I'll talk about why those four stocks, and there are reasons. The key reason is that it's America. Hecla is silver in America. If you want silver in America, and not silver in the ground, silver that's silver that you might actually be able to do something with, like build data centers, electric vehicles, solar panels, etc. It's all about Hecla in America. And then USAS, America's Gold and Silver, USAS, on the New York Stock Exchange. There again, America focused. They're certainly not in the category of Hecla, but they are advanced developer, junior producer. Anyway, USAS is all about silver in America. Same with Hecla. G-Roy they're more gold focused than silver, but they are focused primarily they're actually stronger in Canada than in America. But those two, Canada and America, is like 90% of G-Roy's portfolio. And so I like that about them. Anyway, I don't want to go into the details, but there's a lot to like, or there is a lot that I like about G-Roy. But again, if you're just looking for a mining stock to put your money into and not worry about it for the next couple of years, go buy some Wheaton, go buy some Hecla. We looked at this in the last video. Again, mining stocks just pushing higher relative. Again, in this chart, we're looking at how are the mining stocks performing relative to the broad market. NVIDIA, I watch this stock. I don't hold any stocks other than mining stocks, folks. And so when I look at NVIDIA and miscellaneous other stocks, it's just for analysis. I don't hold any of these stocks. One of the things I noticed, this is a couple of months back, is that we got this double top in NVIDIA, and I noted that. And now we've gotten a bunch of sideways action. Yesterday, NVIDIA lost, 5.4%. Now we've gapped down on the open this morning with another 1.9% loss, testing this level as support. We can see that it has, that level has provided support in the past. So maybe NVIDIA will find support there today. Big selling volume. Bitcoin, and again, folks, I don't hold anything. If it ain't precious metals, I don't hold it. And so, again, when I look at charts of Bitcoin, it's purely for analysis. It's not me looking at something I have invested in, speculated in. My opinion, anything in crypto is a speculation, not an investment. And I just, last time I looked at Bitcoin, this chart, I'm like, holy cow, that sure looks like a head and shoulders top to me. And so, I draw it in, and the price target, the price target on a head and shoulders pattern is you take the distance from the top of the head to the neck, or the bottom of the head. Head and shoulders can be bullish or bearish. This happens to be bearish. And then you double that length. So the length from the neckline to the top of the head, you double that length and you project it below the neckline in this case. If it was a bullish pattern, you'd do that projection above the neckline. And anyway, that gives me a target at 35,000. And coincidentally, there was a resistance support. And so, back in 23, middle of 23, 35,000 was acting as resistance. And then, Bitcoin broke higher. So anyway, that's another chart that I'm watching. That's all I got, folks. Primarily, it was an update on the mining stocks. I don't want, yeah, anyway, wanted to let you know, bought some more mining stocks this morning, did a little bit of portfolio massaging to adjust position sizes. So talk to you soon, folks.